I mean, 2021 is the year of the Bitcoin, I feel like. So it's like you see, it's so great because as long as I've been teaching people about this, it's getting easier and easier to talk to institutional investors about what's going on, especially lately because, Fidelity manages about $800 billion. They came out and they said that they came out with an investment thesis, and their investment thesis predicts a $50,000 Bitcoin in 2021. Now, to me, that number is still very conservative because I do this math problem all the time in my presentations, but essentially, at 10,000, Bitcoin's at about $11,000 right now. Our market cap is about $200 billion. Now, when you think about that, $200 billion is, Apple was once valued at 1 trillion. There are entire companies, just companies listed on the NASDAQ that are worth more than $200 billion. It is just a drop in the bucket. Mm-hmm. So just doing the math, if the price of Bitcoin was to go to $100,000, then the market cap of Bitcoin would be $2 trillion. Now, $2 trillion sounds like a lot, but when you compare it to certain things, like, for example, the gold market cap is about 10 trillion. It's still only 1/5 of the gold market cap. And this is global digital gold. That's easy to access. So when I see things like that, I'm like, $100,000 Bitcoin, it sounds crazy, but it's super, super achievable. And then you also see things like in 2020, the Federal Reserve printed $7 trillion. We've increased our balance sheet by 75% in the past 10 months. So that is a very, very dangerous thing for the US dollar. And it's a very powerful thing for stores of value like gold and like Bitcoin.
Right. I like to make that comparison too, because gold has an $8 to $10 trillion global market cap. And everyone's always trying to make these asset comparisons between Bitcoin and gold. So, I mean, if Bitcoin ended up being the quote unquote digital gold of the future, where people turn to as a safe haven investment, it's very likely that Bitcoin could at least be worth a fraction of that, but would likely get pretty close to $8 to $10 trillion if it ever actually took on that status.
Yeah, but for example, the Escape Artist Insiders, the magazine I write for, which if you guys want to subscribe to, it is a magazine about international passports. And I mean, you probably know all about, blockchaincenter.com/magazine. You can learn all about it. Sorry, there's guys in the office. I got to tell them to shut.
No worries.
Hold on. Hey guys. Okay. Anyways, so where was I going with that? Gold market cap,
gold market cap comparisons, Bitcoin as an asset.
Yeah, except here's the thing with gold, right? Is that, for one, we don't actually know how much gold is out there. In 1933, FDR confiscated everybody's gold. Mm-hmm. That's when it was like an account of how much gold is actually out there. But we really don't know. Like, what happens if someone's gold mine finds a ton of gold tomorrow? Then everyone's value is less who owns gold. What's interesting about Bitcoin is that almost even down to the minute when new Bitcoins are entering the market. The inflation schedule the inflation schedule is very, very precise. Now, the other interesting thing about gold and Bitcoin is that we can only speculate what can happen when 60% of the world's population that doesn't have access to banks can now access a digital gold with just a cell phone and a Wi-Fi signal. Like, imagine what smart people in third, second world countries, imagine that they can now contribute to a global economy. We have no idea what's going to happen because of that. So I do think that because of Bitcoin's liquidity, because of its ability to move around and it's unconfiscatable and it's uncensorable, you're going to see it surpass gold's market cap, as long as, of course, the core developers continue to make sure that it's still secure and people still contribute to via hash rates.
It's not going away, and I think that's the biggest point. And the fact that it has a very predictable inflation model. You know how much Bitcoin's going to exist. When it's being released. You can time these things out. You can predict it, and it's all there. It's transparent. With gold, it's difficult because you can make the argument that there's technically potentially an unlimited amount of gold, because, you know, if you look at what we're going to be able to do in terms of mining in the future for minerals, resources, metals, you know, that'll go beyond Earth. And I guess this is a completely different conversation. But
no, that makes sense. There's probably a bunch of gold that.
Yeah, the existential potential of gold being found out there on an asteroid or another planet, you know, once we start doing things outside of Earth. And, you know, you make new discoveries every day. There's tons of gold in the Earth that's prospected, but we never pull out of the ground. So it's a constant issue where you're actually inflating away gold, but you don't really notice it nowadays.
Yeah, and it's the access to gold that makes it completely different too.
Right.
I mean, imagine somebody in India who is very intelligent that they can't buy gold. Like, what are they going to do? Store it in their house so they can get robbed? Like, but what they can do is they can remember their 12 to 24 word seed phrase. So
I think the funniest thing people do with gold is they dig it out of the ground, buy it, and then they just bury it right back in the ground again. So it's like, why are you pulling it out of the ground in the first place?
Yeah, this is, and you know, just in terms of outlook for Bitcoin 2021 for sure.